Nash is a well-known Canadian Labour leader and politician. She is also a feminist, a trade unionist, an environmentalist, and a social justice advocate. Following Peggy's graduation from the University of Toronto, she went on to work as a ticket agent for Air Canada and quickly became a leading union activist with Canadian Airline Employees Association. In 1985, Kalia merged with the Canadian Auto Workers, and in 1990, Peggy was appointed assistant to National President Bob White. She worked as a labor negotiator in the transportation, service, and manufacturing sectors and was the first woman responsible for major auto negotiations in North America when she negotiated the 2005 Ford Canada contract.
Not only was I not hesitant to take on the role of negotiating in the auto sector, I fought for that and wanted it, and it was something that I pushed for because I believe that for women to play a full and equal role, there can be no job that's off limits to them.
In addition to her role as assistant to the president, Peggy was also appointed as director of CAW Women's Programs, where she indeed became a voice for sisters in the union, championing the fight for full political, economic, and social equality for women. Among her many accomplishments, along with other women activists in our union, Peggy helped to develop the far-reaching CAW Affirmative Action Policy Paper, which was adopted at the 1991 Constitutional Convention. Among other important initiatives, this paper laid the groundwork for the development of the Aboriginal and Worker of Colour and women's activist programs. Since that time, women's participation in the union has risen significantly. Peggy further succeeded in negotiating innovative equality provisions such as employment equity coordinators, women's advocates, right to refuse work due to harassment language, and contract clauses that included language around violence against women.
As a young woman, I had the very good fortune to be hired into a workplace where I became a union member. My union, the CAW, the Canadian Auto Workers, gave me an enormous opportunity to gain skills and confidence, to believe that I could make a difference, and to join with others in the fight for workplace fairness and broader social justice. When as women, we fought for childcare, pay equity, and to end gender-based violence, our leadership was secure enough to understand that this made the union stronger.
Peggy remained assistant to the national president until 2006, when she won her first federal election as NDP MP for Parkdale High Park. Peggy took leave from the CAW and spent the next 2 years using her position as an MP in the 39th Canadian Parliament to continue to raise her voice on behalf of workers, and in particular women, whenever the opportunities arose.
If you don't have women at the table, if you don't have women in powerful positions, making the rules, being a voice, having the power to change things, how are things going to change?
In 2008, Sister Nash returned to her role as assistant to the president.
Those who say they are progressive politicians, who say they are on our side, need to hear from us that our side supports gun control, and we need to make sure that what we have achieved, which isn't nearly enough, is not undermined. Every single politician needs to be accountable, and especially those who say they are our friends.
And was further elected NDP party president at the Federal Party's National Convention in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
And I want to pay tribute to my colleague, my sister, someone who has made a lifelong contribution and a lifelong commitment to achieving social justice and making a better world. And that's the next Member of Parliament, the former Member of Parliament from Parkdale High Park, Peggy Nash. Of course, I don't need to tell you how much work Peggy has done working for women's equality in our society on so many different fronts. It's always a priority for her, and there are countless examples of the times she spoke in the House of Commons on all of these issues. Child care, work for equal pay for work of equal value, all of those key issues, a woman's right to choose, and all of this sort of fundamental infrastructure of human rights in our country for women. And nobody knows these issues better than Peggy.
In 2011, in what would affectionately become known as the Orange Wave, the NDP made history by becoming, for the first time, the official opposition. And Peggy successfully regained her seat as the MP for Parkdale High Park. In the 41st Parliament, Peggy holds one of the 103 NDP seats that were won, 40 of which were women, and was appointed by Jack Layton as the finance critic in the official opposition shadow cabinet. Following the untimely death of NDP leader Jack Layton in 2012, Peggy announced her candidacy to become the next leader of the federal party. Peggy's leadership bid brought women together from coast to coast to coast. For some women, this was an opportunity to build their own capacity as activists and as leaders, and to engage politically in ways they never had engaged before. As Peggy's numerous awards, accolades, and appointments throughout the years can attest, from her early days as a local union activist to her current high-profile position as the finance critic of the official opposition, Peggy has never wavered from her feminist activist roots. Her NDP leadership bid tagline was, "Fighter, Builder, Leader," and she is all that and more.